Hey, Eric, in our last episode, you mentioned briefly a quiz you provide and the number one answer. What is that?
Yeah, so the number one answer is, and this is out of 6 possible answers, I often feel overwhelmed, stressed, and exhausted. So the question is, when life does not go your way, how would you describe the biggest emotions you experience?
So more on that in a moment. But first, hello, I'm Steve.
And I'm Eric. And together we are 2 dads with one mission.
Welcome to the 𝗙𝗍𝗃 podcast. This is the show for dads, all about fatherhood, faith, and freedom, one conversation at a time. So let's jump right back in, Eric, to that number one answer. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the vast majority of people that I work with, they're struggling with some kind of gut health issue. And so the quiz that we referenced earlier is a quiz to determine gut type. And so one of those questions is, how you deal with life when life's not going your way. And again, the way that most people answer the question is that they feel overwhelmed, stressed, and exhausted. So I think the question that we want to ask you as our listener is, how often do you feel overwhelmed, stressed, and exhausted? So what we want to try to help you with today in this episode is how to get past, to move in your life in such a way that you are not regularly experiencing overwhelm, stress, and exhaustion. So this is kind of a part 2. And in the first episode of this, we talked a lot about values and alignment. So let's kind of jump back and readdress this issue of values and alignment. So when someone does not know their values, meaning, and we're not talking about things like honesty or integrity, those can be values, but we're talking about bigger things, such as maybe you value your health, or you value spirituality, or you value, like certain kinds of hobbies maybe that you spend your time doing. Whatever you spend the most time doing, that's a thing that can be of value. Okay, so just to kind of help you understand what we mean when we talk about values. And then being in alignment with those values means that you are, you're doing something with your life that allows you to live within your values. And so the way that Steve and I believe is that when you understand your values and you're living in alignment with your values, then your energy level automatically goes up. And so it comes back to that, that think about a time when you had to get up in the morning for maybe a court appearance, and most people dread going to court. Maybe it's jury duty or some kind of, you're being sued, and like you don't wake up like energized and like, all right, I get to go to court, right? But then compare that to like another morning when you're waking up, maybe you're gonna go snow skiing. I remember when I was a kid and we'd have to wake up at like 3 in the morning, because it was a long drive and we wanted to get there when the resort opened. And but a whole group of 4 kids would wake up at 3 in the morning, and nobody was complaining about getting up at 3 in the morning because we were all excited to go snow skiing, so the energy level was high. So I'm just kind of talking through these examples of how when you're doing something that you value, and you're in alignment with that, your energy levels can go through the roof.
Yeah, Eric, I'm reminded, just as you said that, kids getting up at 3 a.m., I'm reminded of something else. So, most people, they're working their career, their job, and they work hard all year and save up for that 2-week holiday in the UK, that 2-week vacation.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Friday in work before they go on vacation on the Saturday, they get more work done on that Friday any other time of the year.
Yep.
Just like the kid waking up at 3 a.m. because he's all excited.
Yeah. So your motivation is more internal when you're doing something that you value. You know, so think about things in your life, and we all have these things. As much as I love what I do, there's aspects of my business that I'm not in love with. You know, I love helping people. I love, you know, getting face to face with people and helping them, you know, and challenging them to grow and those kind of things. But there's aspects, some certain aspects of my business that I'm not in love with, and it's like it affects my energy level. You know, so I try to spend more time doing things that I love doing because I like having a high energy level.
Yeah, yeah. So something else that I'd just like to mention that's come to mind for me is we're talking about values and alignment, okay? But then there's the flip side to that. So, you know, when we've got values and you know, in essence, what our values, they are things that are habitually important to us. They have a significant meaning for us. So those are our values. And obviously, when you're aligned with the values, you have high energy. But this is what happens as you go about your business day by day, just carrying on, minding your own business. You come across situations, you know, maybe situations in your home life, in your career, different areas of life. You come across situations where something happens that doesn't align. So it misaligns with your values. It isn't in alignment with your values. Yeah. Okay. And when that happens, that's when we have like what an abnormal reaction in our nervous system, because it doesn't align with our values. It obviously breaches our values. We can react abnormally to that and kind of carry that around with us. Yep. And whilst we're carrying that emotion around with us, something that's breached our values, you know, that we're adding that to that stress and that overwhelm pile, and it's burning energy. Right. You know, as long as we carry, I have this metaphor which I call it's the problem rucksack. And you've got this rucksack. We all start out life with this rucksack, the problem rucksack on our back. Yeah, so we're carrying a little bag, right? Yeah, and every time we come across situations that don't quite go our way, or in this instance, you know, maybe situations that breach and are not in alignment with our values, we bend down and we pick a little problem pebble up, and we put that pebble into the rucksack. Yeah, I can see. And then we carry on with life. You know, and day after day, month after month, year after year, you know, picking up these problem pebbles, that rucksack becomes really heavy and it takes its toll. Yeah, that's a good analogy. So how does a person start offloading some of these what'd you call them? Problem pebbles in the problem rucksack. Pebbles. I love that. So problem rucksack of life. Yeah. Yeah. So how do we start offloading problem pebbles? Well, I think before we get into a discussion about how you can offload, I think we need to go into a bit more of a detailed discussion on, you know, how we absorb these problems in the first place. So, you know, what is the structure of stress and overwhelm? You know, it has many structures, but the simplest structure for me, again, it's another little metaphor. I like giving these examples. Imagine you've got this circus tent of life. Okay, so you're in a circus tent. You may have come across these circus tents where they have these spinning plates. You know, it's the little stick with a plate on top, and you spin the plate, and eventually, if you create enough momentum on the stick, the plate will spin on its own. And it's almost like, you know, when we've got these situations where something doesn't quite go our way, we spin a plate. So you pick up that problem pebble, put it in your rucksack. Almost like you're trying to balance something in your life, and you're keeping it balanced. Okay. And the reason why I like the spinning plate, because if you think about it, it's got momentum, it's got movement, because literally that's what's happening in your nervous system. When you're holding on to a problem, a situation, you spin a plate. Yeah. And then you go around in life and something else happens and you spin another plate. Hey, let me interrupt you real quick. Could these spinning plates be emotions? Definitely, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to kind of like this can definitely be. They could be emotions. They could be things on a to-do list that you've been putting off. Right. They could be things like you walk into the kitchen and it's a mess, and you don't have time to tidy it right now, and you spin a plate. And all of these spinning plates in this circuit tent, this circus tent of life, you know, you're spinning them. And what happens is when you get to the end, you know, and you've got maybe 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300 spinning plates,
Yeah.
which there's the structure of overwhelm. You know, your mind has to go back and provide more energy from the things yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 5 years, 10 years ago, and carry on spinning. And as you're spinning all of this, that's when it's draining your mental energy.
Yeah.
So we need to understand how we're creating the structure of overwhelm in our nervous system to start with. And hopefully that's a very, very rudimentary, simplistic idea, the spinning plates.
Yeah, but I think it's a concept that people can hold on to. I mean, even if you haven't been to a circus as a kid and you've actually seen these people doing it, you can visualize, you know, that happening.
Yeah. So that's how that to me is the basic rudimentary structure of overwhelm, structure of stress, all of these spinning plates.
Yeah.
So now you know how we create overwhelm and stress in our lives. Okay, so now what can we do to reduce? And it's about completion and closure. So there are certain things in our life where we've been spinning plates for days, months, years, decades. Seriously, you have been draining mental energy on things that you started spinning decades ago. And it's now about just cleaning up certain things. If the kitchen is untidy, tidy the kitchen, tidy your desk, tidy the car.
Maybe
as
start
soon
with
as you
simple
get
things,
completion on it, your unconscious will no longer spin that plate. It'll stop spinning it. You've got one plate less. You know, if there are things, people that you've been putting off that you know you need to speak to, contact, phone, call them.
Yeah.
You know, if there's letters you need to write it. If there's bills you need to pay them. If there's money owed to you, chase it. So it's about getting completion on the small things so that these 300 spinning plates becomes 200, 100. And then eventually you'll be left with maybe the 10 or 15 really big, important spinning
But now you have all that energy left to apply to those bigger problems.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like paying off debt, you know, that like start off with the small ones. And then when you get that paid off, you can start applying to the bigger ones. It's the same kind of concept. It's just that it's more like mental and emotional value that you're applying to bigger problems. So yeah, makes perfect sense.
And I know we've got people listening right now who are saying, you know, Steve, that's so simple and so so easy to understand. Why don't we do it? And why does it work? Why would just tidying my desk, cleaning my car, paying a bill, you know, help and cause more energy to be available in my nervous system to the important stuff? And it's literally the compounding effect. Okay, when you do one thing and stop one spinning plate, you don't notice it initially. You do a couple more and you don't notice it. Do 5 or 10 more, and then you start to have this vibrancy and this energy about you. And
you wake up with a different kind of energy.
You're getting up out of bed, you know, an hour early. It's like, you know, you're waking a little bit more energized than you were a few days before. And it's this compounding effect over time. So the reason why I say this is because you'll find it less easy to start with, but the more you do it, the easier it'll get.
Yeah,
you'll do a couple of
trust the process.
You'll do a couple of tasks and you'll say to yourself, this isn't working.
Yeah, trust
the
process.
Working.
It's the
compounding effect.
Yeah, perfect. So, all right, let's summarize all this for our listeners, Steve. So I think, you know, the real short version is know your values. Steve or I can help you with that. Start moving your life in a way that aligns with your values. You know, do more things that give you energy, do less things that take energy away from you, and then deal with your spinning plates. You know, it sounds simple, and really, honestly, everything in personal development, self-improvement is simple conceptually, and nothing happens until you take action. So we're kind of challenging you, like, take action. Look at the things that are distracting you, these multiple spinning plates, deal with the easy things, and then you'll have more time, energy, talent to deal with things that are more complex and challenging in life. Because some spinning plates never go away. They just are able to be managed in a different way.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, and when you start to clean up your life, you know, what will happen is, you know, you'll start to empty the rucksack.
Yeah.
That problem rucksack.
Yeah.
And
So
then
that
all
answers
of a
the question,
sudden
how do
your
you
life
offload
gets
problem pebbles?
Yeah, your life gets lighter.
Yeah.
Now, and that's how you change your energy and change your life.
Perfect.
Hey, so Eric, how can people find out more about us?
So it's really super easy. We call ourselves Allied Dads. Our website is allieddads.com. You can find out everything about us. You can find, you know, Steve's contact information, my contact information. And so come check us out. If you like what you hear, you know, please subscribe. If there's anything you want us to talk about, definitely give us a suggestion. We'd love to hear from our listeners. So Steve, what are we going to be talking about next time?
Yeah, so the next episode, we're going to come around and do our Allied Dads Unplugged sort of episode again. So what's the unplugged episode? You never know what you're going to get, as Forrest Gump would say. It's just a conversation. We'll get online, hit the record button, and whatever the topic of the day is, we're just going to talk about it.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate you as a listener, and we'd love to chat with you at some point. So don't hesitate to reach out.
And it just leaves me to say those normal words at the end. Please go and find us and subscribe on your favorite streaming channel. We'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Take care.